Welcome to the Secret Sauce Podcast. This is a show about relationships with staff, with students, with yourself, with building culture in your classroom, your school, your district, and becoming personally developed so that you can be professionally developed. Be sure and follow our podcast so you don't miss a show. And we're booking now for the 23-24 school year for any type of PD that you need, keynotes, seminars, workshops. Just get in touch with me. I would love to come to your school, your district, and share the secret sauce with you. So let's jump right into the next episode. Here we go. All right, welcome to the Secret Sauce Podcast. I'm your host, Kip Schubert. This is episode 29, and I've got a super powerful friend of mine, full of energy, from the state of Texas. His name is Josh Tovar. He's principal at the Memorial Pathway Academy in Garland, Texas, and he does a bunch of social media hours and shows with authors and speakers and problem solving with office hours. I'm going to let him explain all that to you. But Josh, welcome to the podcast.
Kip, been looking forward to this all day, brother. I was looking for. I go, hey, I'm gonna have some secret sauce on me today. I'm gonna make it come to life because normally, you know this. I'm always listening to you and other podcasts at 4 a.m. Right now, I'm live with a secret sauce, and I'm not getting the groggies, getting ready to go to the gym. So I'm excited to be in here with you, and thank you for the invite, brother.
You bet. So tell me a little bit about, and tell our listeners about the things that you do online with the authors and speakers show and the office hours and the red zone.
Well, I like to invite all educators out there, classroom teachers, aides, assistant principals, area soups. I'd like to invite all of you. Please reach out to our Twitter, MPA_Go Jaguars, because we love bringing in people from around the United States. We have 3 shows. Dean and Chris, this was their brainchild, and they created this during Corona, as many podcasters did. And they created the original show, and from there it's evolved. These 2 guys brought their whole system and kept evolving, bringing in different speakers, different people. And now an original show that was every Sunday has turned into 3 shows. So that's why we need guests. It doesn't matter where you're from, Alaska, Maine, Hawaii. I need you. We need you. Because we have the Sunday show. It's on all the socials, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, so on and so forth. And that deals with speakers, authors. That way we could sharpen our tools. That's known as the flagship show every Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern. Then Chris and Dean came up with this awesome idea saying, how do we branch out? How do we connect with more people in the trenches? So they came up with 2 other shows. They came up with this awesome idea. Get this, Dean and Chris came up with this idea, 20-minute problem-solving show. They come up with actual situations that are faced in schools, and we get the opinions from different levels. It just doesn't have to be secondary or elementary, all levels, because we face it one way or the other. And then finally, the final show, Thursday, they said, you know what? Let's have like a round table, a big King Arthur kind of stuff, and it's a topical show. It's called the Red Zone. And all these happen at 9 p.m. on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and then the flagship show at 7. And on Thursday, this past Thursday, we talked about all things that have to do special ed. This coming up Thursday is going to be about curriculum. So we have authors and special people that's their whole focus. And like I told you, Kip, I'm very excited about this. In 2 Thursdays from now, we're going to have 5 head football coaches from California, Ohio, Florida, Louisiana, and Texas that won state championships this year to come and talk about what their vision is for teamwork, unity, because you know that. Kip, you know this. Whenever a school wins something across the state, it doesn't only pick up the spirit of the school and the logo, but the whole community. It brings lifelong, everlasting ripples of joy and life and sets a new bar for that community. So it's going to be an exciting show. So I highly encourage everybody that's out there, reach out to us, MPA_Go Jaguars, or Unlock the Middle, and we'll book you on the show.
Yeah, and I just want to second that for you guys that are listening in. I mean, these shows are amazing. I can't wait for the 5 head football coaches. That's going to be Bad, powerful, man. That's going to be bad. I can't wait to listen to that one.
I hear you.
But yeah,
Yeah,
if
for
you
sure.
want to get in on these things, instead of just listen, get a hold of Josh and Dean and get on these roundtables and these discussions, because there's a powerful way to get topics talked about, and again, make connections with other educators around the country. But Josh, tell me a little bit about your story, how you got into education, maybe a little bit about your journey as an educator.
You know what, Kip? I want to start off by saying this to you, Kip. What you brought to the table has allowed me to feel more open, because you know what? You're the man, brother. You remove that armor, you put it on the floor, and you show all the scars. You know what? That's what our kids need to, like Principal Cafele says, you do not
Yeah,
fake the funk. Great job, brother. Because you know
thank you.
what? It's all about we all have a story. All of us have a story. The kid with a lot of money, the kid with no money, they all have stories,
Right.
and they all have obstacles. And it's how you connect with them to move them forward in life. And so, you know what? I'll tell you this much, Kip. I'm an immigrant to this country. Had to learn English. I'm a product of full immersion. I was surrounded by a bunch of English-speaking people. Had to go through adversity. I'm a child of divorce. I'm a child of alcoholism. Like you, Kip, my parents left me alone. Literally, my sophomore year, for 3 years, I had no parents looking over me. And you know what, Kip? I did what you described in your podcast. I'm self medicated nonstop with drinking. I self medicated because people don't know. Oh, cool. You're in high school. You have your own house. Party, party. You know how lonely those nights are?
Yeah,
You know how lonely it is to be in a house with only one TV screen on? Kip,
I
you
can
can relate to
I
this.
can relate. Yes, I can.
Not only that, Kip, but when when, as the song goes, when the bottle's your only friend, truly, it's a sad situation that we reflect. And you know what? Part of us, and Kip, I don't know if you agree with me on this one. When we went through that stage and we, quote unquote, air quotes, recovered, a part of us died because
Yeah,
of that trauma, and we're
yeah,
never gonna get it back. We're never gonna be able fully to connect. Like you see some of these Beaver to Cleaver dads, these
yeah,
Beaver to Cleaver families. We don't have that because we lost it somewhere. So now we have the situation right now where I've evolved through all this, and the only thing that helped me out was making sure that I found a place that would tear me down and would pick me up. And in that case, I'm very glad that the Lord and Savior guided me to the United States Marine Corps. If it was not for the United States Marine Corps, I would have been a junkie. I was hanging around. Look, think about this. Your senior year, and you have the party house, kid.
yeah.
Do I need to say anything else?
No,
You know what I'm talking about,
I
right?
know what you're talking about.
If
That
I
would have.
got if I got past 2 streets from my house, I was going to go to school that day. More often than not, people were capturing me to go back to my house so we could drink the cases. Remember the cases of beer, the party
Yeah.
balls?
Mm-hmm.
That's what we used to do. And I say this to everybody out there. I am not proud. I am not ashamed of what happened to me, because those experiences made me who I am now. Those
Exactly.
experiences right there made me the sympathetic and empathetic individual educator, so that when I run into another kid, I'm looking at him, bro, I tried that in the 80s. Don't try that with me.
So yeah, you know the ropes. We can see it in their eyes, can't we?
They tell us,
Yeah,
because
we've been
I'm
there.
sure that we gave that look.
Yeah,
But you know what the
absolutely.
difference is, Kip? That back then in the 80s, people didn't care. If you ditched, they didn't care. Allegedly, there were truant officers out there. Hell no, there was never no truant officers catching me.
Yeah,
You know how many times I talked to a school counselor in high school? You know how many times?
zero.
One, just the 1 year. The
To
senior
make
year,
to
just
make
to
sure
tell me
you.
what degree, what college diploma. I mean, high school diploma.
Yeah.
Sad.
You know what really resonated with me from what you said so far in your story is that piece of us dying. You know, I look back and reflect quite a bit on my life, and there's just I'm in such a better place today, and going through what I went through with alcoholism and homelessness and all that, it brought me to my secret sauce, where it's made me a better educator, an impactor, a coach. It's let my life mean something. But there's times with my own children that I wasn't present because of the addiction that I'll never get back. And not only did a part of me die, I think a part of them, my own children, died too. And they're still recovering from that. But those, like you said, those obstacles to me become opportunities for great growth. And so it's just how we choose to get back up when we're in that arena and we get our ass handed to us and knocked down. How do we choose to get back up and get back in the fight? And that's what makes all the difference.
And you know what, Kip? And I talk to my three. I have three sons, and I talk to my elementary going to middle school and middle school going to high school son. And I sit down, and you know what? I'm very rough sometimes with them because I wasn't taught that part of that depth part. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The norm of a family, when family is supposed to create that structure. Again, I do not blame my parents. I don't blame anybody. That was just the card I was dealt with, the deck of cards I was dealt with. And I dealt with it the best that I could. Some people don't know how to deal with it and fall off the end and then take a different choice in life.
Right.
And they're no choice. I tell my kids, and I'm honest with them because I want them to know that daddy's not always smiling with them. Daddy's not always giving them that hug because something died in him. And I tell them that. And I want you to always be happy and love each other. I don't want you guys to be at odds as brothers because you have something beautiful in the house. You have loving family that goes out to eat. We pray. We go to church every Sunday. I want you as someone who had nothing to have what I didn't have. And you know what that is? Eternal love, compassion that I have lost in my life. And that's just what it is. I mean, Kip, you and I cannot go back. We can't recover the stupid crap that we did. We cannot go back. But you know what? We learn our lessons and we love our future kids at school, in the classroom, on the soccer field, and we guide them. We Sherpa them to that secret sauce. So I feel you, Kip, whenever you send your message out there and I tell you, hey, educator out there, first year teacher, that's alternative certification, or 25th year teacher, connect with the kids. They'll walk on fire for you.
That's right.
Share a little bit about themselves, about yourself. And you know what? Sometimes you might have to share a little bit more than comfortable. But that's when the kids, because you know what? It doesn't matter when, kids smell phony.
They do.
Kids smell phony. And if you're being superficial, especially today, that stupid cell phone has made those guys very smart.
Right.
They know when you're faking the funk. So I'm telling you, educator, open up, drop the armor. Don't drop it as much as me and Kip, all right? Unless you feel comfortable with that.
Yeah.
But you know what? If you do drop it as much as us, I can let you know one thing. The kids will follow.
And that's exactly right. And there are some times that, like with my story, I can't share some parts of my story with a sixth grade classroom. I can share a lot more of it with a high school soccer team. I can share all of it when I'm speaking to staff and adults in districts and schools around the country or online for people to see. But it's just, I'm not afraid to cry in front of my kids. And I've shared about when I was coming out of rehab, and not necessarily telling them what it was or addiction or anything, but there was a situation that I had to go through that caused me to lose my daughter for 3.5 years. And how she must have felt that daddy just wasn't there anymore, and how me trying to get back into her life and kick and scratch and claw to do that was so difficult, and I wanted to give up at times, but it taught me how to persevere and how to continue to fight one day at a time every single day until I was back to where I wanted to be with her, and when I share that, I tear up, and the kids relate because there's so much divorce now in our country, where it used not when our parents got divorced, it wasn't the norm. We were kind of I always thought people looked at me as an outcast because my dad was a minister and my mom was a housewife in town and well known, and here we are. I was a divorced kid from the people who shouldn't have got divorced. So I think the more we're able to share in whatever capacity in education that we are, like you said, the kids are gonna. If you want that achievement, you want those results, you want that success with your data and in your teaching, in test scores and all that kind of stuff, be real and vulnerable and authentic with your kids, because all you got to do is ask them, and they're going to go through fire for you. And it's just such a simple thing. But I want to move to just, and you've kind of talked about it maybe a little bit, but as a man, as a human, as an educator, is there one or maybe two defining moments specifically that you could share that's really set you on the course that you are now, be the man, the husband, the father, the principal, the administrator, that you, and Josh, you spread such a positive energy. I mean, it's just contagious. I mean, share with us maybe a moment or two that was a defining thing for you.
I'm going to give you the two things right here, Kip, because you know what? They're easy. They're easy to describe. The very first thing was in 2015. I went kayaking. Mind you, I'm a former Marine. I'm okay with my water skills. And we went kayaking. And out of nowhere, we were in a lake with my 3-year-old son then. And we had cloudy days. It was a cloudy day. And then we saw the water get a little bit choppy, but it wasn't that much. So I thought nothing of it. We're just going to kayak from the shore to like a little island, not that far away. Yeah. So we got this, right? Very long story short, Kip. We capsized. It came out of nowhere. Man. My 3-year-old son and I were drowning. There was no one around. And my son started drowning me because I was holding him up, but the water was spraying on him. He was trying to grab me by my neck to grab around me. And so I sunk, Kip. I sunk. I had let go of my son. I had no idea. And in my head, I remember thinking this. So this is how. I remember that vividly. And I just remember my big fat body just dropping down. The next thing that I remember, Kip, I don't know what happened, but I went up and there was a big hand there, a hand grabbing me. And he just grabbed me and pulled me. Was yelling something, just like in the movies, muffled. You hear stuff, but you don't hear it. He put me onto the boat. I was dark. I was dark under the water, Kid. I shouldn't have been here. I died, Kid. Something brought me back. That's a fact. I have 2 birthdays, September the 4th and September the 6th, when it happened. That moment right there made sure that I understood what life is all about. That moment that my son was safe, that someone scooped him out after daddy sunk underneath and drank water like crazy, and someone was able to haul me into his boat, was a moment that defined my life. That a lot of times now, I don't take a lot of things seriously. Because you know what? Every single last stinking second is not guaranteed.
Right.
So all I got to do from that moment on was making sure that I take care of my shell. Because this is just a shell. That event right there proved to me that this is just a shell and I'm only as good as my shell. What allowed that event to be, air quotes again, successful was that I work out and I was able to use my skills from the Marines to try to keep my son up. If not, for sure, my son would have been dead.
Yeah.
So that moment right there is an event that even now, when people are going through nonsense, you look at it and you're like, okay, it's not really that. It's not really that
right.
bad. The second event is this, and I'm gonna go on a lighter note, which is the joy. You know what, Kip? You and I know this. You're a fabulous soccer coach and educator that loves kids. And you know what? I think that you agree with me in this statement. We're in the best profession out there, the profession that creates all the other professions, because we're the ones that ignite the passion in the kid to become a soccer player, to become an astronaut, to become a mathematician, to become a model, whatever it might be. We're that group of individuals that spark that life into that dream. And it's our job to keep on waving that air into that spark and make it a fire, making it that Challenger going up in the air, making that space shuttle going up in the air, making sure that they reach for the stars. That's why I love the profession that I'm in. And so I'm going to let you know. There's a group of kids. I moved from a middle school to a high school. And when I moved from Ranchland Hills Middle School in El Paso, Texas, to Isleta High School, it was a low-performing school, all Hispanic, all Mexican, coming from across the border. Every high school on the border in El Paso, and I'm pretty sure in Brownsville, so on and so forth, you get at least every day like 300 kids from across the border, every day. And we could go into that in another podcast. But that didn't define us. What defined us was that unity to get the kids ahead. And so that year that I arrived, I was the newbie at the campus.
Yeah.
And I was the new assistant principal. I was an assistant principal in the middle school, but our principal, Mr. Jerry Lee, was looking at everybody. All right, who wants the freshman? And I'm like, I stayed quiet. I was just happy that, you know what, I moved up to the high school level. I was ready to rock and roll. And so all the other APs, being the bullies that they are, will give the new guy the freshman. No one wants to deal with the freshman. You know that kid.
Yeah.
No one wants to deal with him. And so I got them. That was the best blessing in the world, Kip. You know why? Because I carried those kids for 4 years, buddy. For 4 years, that was my group of children. 4 years, their same assistant principal. And let me tell you, we created miracles there. Kids that shouldn't have graduated, they went up, they set the bar, they kept pushing themselves. Adversity, we faced it as a group, but you know what? There was nothing better. And then I promised them their senior year. You invite me to your graduation, and I don't care where in the world it is, I will be there. Guess what, Kip? Guess what happened today? Talk about I was meant to be on the show today, Kip. One of my 08ers today messaged me on Facebook and said, Tovar, I did it. You need to come to my graduation May the 12th at UTEP. I'm a nurse. Woo! Give me a Ric Flair, baby.
Awesome. That is awesome. And you saying that made me think about something. Do you think it's a good idea or really good for kids and students for teachers to kind of follow them through and the admin to kind of follow them through a process?
I am a full proponent. I will never be a superintendent. That's never my idea. But if I had the power of a soup, I would make sure that you loop with kids.
Yeah, I think that's a very powerful thing for kids. If I could stay with a group of kids for 4 years, 3 years, I can develop great relationships in one. However, if I had them for 3, those relationships would be even deeper and more profound. And those things that, the content that we teach is important, yeah? But, what they're going to remember is that connection that they had with that one teacher that made all the difference for them in the world. So when they're going through things like we've been through, when maybe they face a divorce of their own, they're going to remember some things that we did together and we said to them and they experienced with, and they're going to be able to lean back on that and continue to go forward. And, that's what truly makes those successes out there. Because
it's thanks to that group, Kip.
Go ahead.
It's thanks to that group that everything that you see on our social media sites today, wherever I'm at, I learned it because that's when the whole inception of Facebook started.
Right.
I wasn't around the Twitter bird yet because we still had MySpace. But all that kind of situation, social media, I started snapping them since they were freshmen, bro. I started taking pictures of them, always promoting that and putting it out there and everything because of that beautiful group of children, my mighty 08ers. Everything, my Jaguars today are benefiting from what I learned on how to promote love for my kids. Because I was not one of those administrators that I would go to duty just because the principal told me. I will go to all their things.
Right.
I will go to everything. So if one of my 08ers said, hey, Tovar, can you go to the soccer game in the next city? I would be there. Hey, Tovar, can you go see me perform flags? I will go there. So it's about that, what you always say, Kip, and I love it, making those eternal connections. Because kids don't care how much you know. until they know how much you care.
And for our listeners, Josh, this is one thing I didn't tell you in advance, but if you follow Josh and the MPA Go Jaguars on social media, Josh is always posting things that he does for his students and the student body, and making how he makes those great connections. And I just want you to share a few of those things that you do. Like I saw today, the postcards, the birthday cards going out. Share some of the things that you do in your school there at Memorial Pathway, to really just deepen and connect with those students that you have.
So one of the things that I learned my second year in teaching in the early '90s was I gave birthday cards from eraser dust, little generic cards, happy birthday. And because I thought that was cool, and I saw my mom do that because she became an educator in a close by high school. And then one time, that kid, how Ken Williams talks about that school, or you know how you always have that kid in your roster,
right?
Challenging, whatever it was. I gave him the card, and I would buy a pencil, a happy birthday pencil. Later on, he came and said to me, "Hey, Tovar, that was the only birthday gift I got." Boom!
Oh, man, how powerful.
Boom! Mind you, I was 23, 24 years old. Since that day, that kid educated me, and that kid, like the 4 agreements, he domesticated me. From that day, I celebrated every single last birthday that was in my sphere of influence. So one of the things that I've done since the early '90s is always send out birthday cards to all the kids. It doesn't matter what. My previous campus had 2,550 kids. I would send out those birthday cards, brother. I would call them into my office and would give them a birthday card. Right now, as a principal, mail them out those birthday cards. That and the adults also. Because you know what? Based on that event that I told you about, Kip, I always celebrate life because life is not guaranteed.
It's precious, isn't it? I say that in one of my affirmations every morning is that, Kip, you're not guaranteed tomorrow. Make today count.
Exactly.
What you just said gave me the perfect title for this podcast. The Power of a Pencil. Boom. There you go.
Drop it right there, brother.
So as we get ready to close and wrap this up, Josh, tell me or give our listeners one takeaway, one nugget that they can carry with them from Josh Tovar, that's going to help them not just be a better educator, but be better in their own relationships at home, not just at school, but just a better person all the way around. What would you tell us?
Doing this for 3 decades, I'm an old man, brother. 30 years in the business.
Me too.
All right? Kip, one of the things that I've learned is surround yourself with success and feel comfortable asking for help. If you do those 2 things, guys, first year teacher or seasoned administrator, seasoned educator, you'll get it covered. Because you need to say when you don't know it. I say this always. Teach me. Today I said that to my campus secretary. Teach me, educate me. How do you do this? I bend the knee. The best thing is to always know when you don't know it so you don't come across as foolish. And remember that you're not alone. None of us are alone. We choose to be alone. And with this cell phone, with all these social media platforms, you choose to be alone. You choose not to get educated by other awesome educators across. You don't need a purchase order. You don't need to purchase a ticket to go to a conference in Washington, D.C. It's all free with this guy. I'm pointing at him right now. You can't see me, but I'm pointing at him. All you need, this right here is a great avenue for success because you're able to connect with the story that Kip has been telling you. Kip has been telling you about his issues he's had, how he was homeless, how he connects with kids, how he looks for a championship mentality from his soccer players. And sometimes we lose it. What is it? Jimmy Casas talks about you when you were in the interview chair. Sometimes we lose that candidate. Don't lose him or her. Don't lose him because you're not alone. Ask for help. Doesn't matter if you've been doing it for 27 years. Ask for help. Success breeds success. You're not alone. You have all these avenues on social media. You can reach out to anybody. And I'm telling you, people reach back at you because we are in the same hole always. And the cell phones and the requirements and the state tests are universal in the United States. You're not alone, buddy. Mr. Educator, you're not. So reach out. Ask for help if you need it. Ask for assistance if you require it. And also go continue learning. Continue learning, ask for help, and that will guarantee you being the best version of yourself. Because you know what? That's what we tell our kids.
That's right.
To always do better. So we need to take out that mirror and role model that expectation.
Yeah, I love that is the most powerful nugget I've had so far in the 29 episodes that we've done, Josh. That's just amazing. I'm honored that you've been here, that you spent this time with me, and I knew it would be great. But this is just fun, full of joy for me, and I love how you ended that with just know that you're not alone. Surround yourself with successful people, and ask for help when you need it. 'Cause I know before I went into rehab, the year I went in at spring break. I had missed 47 days of school before spring break. And the administrator that I had was a good friend of mine. And so, he saved my career for me. And I love him for that. Cecil Bowles. Big shout out to Cecil. But I had the people around me were saying, "Hey, Kip, are you okay? Kip, do you need anything? Kip, can I help you? Kip, you don't look good." They were trying to help me. And I chose to keep it inside, and I chose to be alone. And even then, 2014, I had those people around me to help me. I just didn't reach out for help. I didn't ask for it until I had to, or I would have died. So I appreciate you sharing that, Josh. And again, thank you for being here. This has been a powerful episode of The Secret Sauce. Again, guys, look up Josh Tovar at MPA_ Go Jaguars. Follow what he does. He's an amazing administrator, an amazing educator, and just an amazing person with such a light that he gives to everybody he comes in contact with. So Josh, thank you for being here.
Thank you, Kip. And let's all get on the road to awesome by having some special secret sauce. Thanks, Kip.
All right. Thank you. And thank you, guys. Till next time. Hey, we appreciate you listening to our podcast. Let's connect and impact lives together. Leave me a comment on this episode or find me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube at The Secret Sauce with Kip Schubert. We would be honored if you would share this episode on your social media. Continue to share your story. It matters. Reach back over that mountain. Every educator, every student needs to feel loved, heard, and valued. So dish out that secret sauce and be that Sherpa to guide others to the summit. Till next time, let's stay all in and all together.